Well, Nifty stocks declining now seem to be Yes Bank, which is really taking the cake. So that one is down around 5% odd. But I also want to point out Maruti post that UBS note. That stock is down around 2.5% odd at the low point of the day. And even a lot of the pharma stocks are under pressure. So Sun Pharma, which had a resilient and good session yesterday, is now seeing profit booking down around 1.5%. We have Dr. Reddy's, which is down around 1.4% at this point. And even heavyweights such as HDFC, which are now declining. So down around 1.3% currently for HDFC. But separately, let's get talking about a couple of companies now. Maharashtra Seamless is the stock on our radar. Remember, there's been a lot of talk that the government could make pipe water availability one of the big focus areas in its second term under Swachh Bharat. To discuss more of this and whether it's an opportunity or not, we have Saket Jindal, the MD of the company, who's joining in now. Mr. Jindal, so if you could just give us a sense in terms of whether or not you manufacture pipes which could be used for piped water and under the Swachh Bharat drive?
Yes, we do manufacture welded pipes, which is used in construction, irrigation, and providing basic infrastructure in the country.
Okay, so Mr. Jindal, then, this could be an opportunity for you. If you could just clear it out, because I understand that majority of your pipes are supplied to the oil and gas space. So we'll talk about that space in a bit. But as of today, out of your total sales, how much of it goes to the irrigation space? In your presentation, it's mentioned that you are catering to the irrigation space. So if you could give us a rough number, and where do you see this opportunity growing to?
I think our main product is seamless pipes, and welded pipes is made by a group company, Jindal Pipes Limited in Ghaziabad. So our focus is in the oil and gas, boilers, power plants, and infrastructure. It's an industrial product. But we do make the welded pipes, which is mainly for cross-country applications and for IOCL and other oil companies which have distribution of oil and gas.
Right.
And some of it, maybe 5%, goes to water sector, which is the smaller sizes for irrigation.
So 5% of your total sales would be going to the irrigation space. That's what you're telling us, right?
Of the total sales, maybe less than 5%.
Little less than 5%, but you see that opportunity growing from here?
No, actually, our capacity is only geared towards the oil and gas and infrastructure, like refinery power plants and boilers. So, means the capacity itself is meeting that application more than this application.
Okay, so then it's not a great opportunity for you, at least as of now. You are satisfied by, with only less than 5% of your sales going to the irrigation space, and your larger focus will be on the oil and gas space. Is that correct?
That's right.
And for the irrigation purpose, which pipes do you supply? The seamless pipes?
For irrigation, it is welded galvanized pipes, which is made by our group company Jindal Pipes.
Okay, welded galvanized.
And under the brand of Jindal Star. And we are also doing some capacity in Maharashtra Seamless, but majority is in the Jindal Star category.
Okay. Well, Mr. Jindal, just hold on. We had some news with regards to M&M Finance, where they have executed an agreement with Manulife Asset Management, which is going to buy around 49% stake for around $34.9 million in one of their entities. So that stock is in focus on account of that. But Mr. Jindal, if we could just talk about your current business, considering that you want to continue focusing on the oil and gas space, and that would continue to be your majority of sales. How is the order book looking at this point in time?
The order book is comfortable. We are having export orders and ONGC orders. But there is certain shortfall in the market, means in the boiler sector and the general dealer sector. So we are trying to push the sales right now for achieving that order booking. Although we have long-term orders, but for shorter deliveries, we require more orders.
Okay, Mr. Jindal, give us a couple of numbers. What is your total order book? As you said, you have exports as a percentage of that. And normally, ONGC constitutes nearly around 50 to 60% of your order book. So, total order book, ONGC's exposure, and also exports.
Actually, I'm not having the exact numbers with me right now, but we bagged the ONGC order last time. And there are new tenders coming in ONGC. Plus, export orders, we usually have around 2 months of export orders in hand.
Did I mention? Did I hear you mention some amount of sluggishness just in the earlier answer, where you did speak about the current business scenario and you did mention maybe some amount of sluggishness in the order book?
Right. So there is a certain shortfall in shorter delivery orders. We have long-term orders that is there. But for shorter deliveries, we require fresh orders, and we are trying to push through. It's a competitive environment, so we are trying to give discounts and back orders.
Okay.
What kind of discounts? How much? And what is
To the tune
the
of around 2 to 5%.
Okay, but what is the problem? Is it a demand problem, or is there just too much competition at this point?
Liquidity.
I think it's part of both of it. A little bit of sluggishness plus competition together, coupled together.
Typically, you said you have longer term contracts as well as shorter term. Typically, what is the mix in terms of a percentage, if you were to give us a rough number?
Means usually our order booking thumb rule is 3 months. We have 3 months of orders, out of which 2 months are for the immediate requirements, like next month and next to next month.
Mm-hmm.
And the remaining 1 month order is staggered over a period of 5 to 6 months.
Okay. All right. So, for keeping all these factors in mind, what sort of a number are you looking at in terms of sales numbers for your ERW segment, your seamless pipes division? You also had done an acquisition of a unit in Telangana, if I remember right.
That acquisition was of United Seamless, which
Right.
we already paid more than 450 crores to the court
Okay.
for when it was liquidating to NCLT.
Okay. So is that
And,
functioning now? Is that unit functioning now? The acquired
No,
unit?
actually, we have paid the money, but the matter is under dispute. So it went all the way to the Supreme Court, where we put a stay on the decision of NCLT.
Oh, okay.
So the Supreme Court has put a stay, and the decision should come in our favor in the near term.
Okay.
Whenever it will take its own course. But initially it was decided in our favor, and it was blocked by the competitor in NCLT, and then further stayed by us in Supreme Court.
Give us some numbers, sir, before we let you go, in terms of sales volumes for the last year. Effectively in seamless, you had done around 316,000 tons of sales and 73,000 in ERW. For this year, what sort of a target do you have in mind? Keeping in mind you have some sluggishness on the ground as well.
I think we should at least be at par with last year.
Flat.
And I think if we put extra efforts, we can even cross, because our new line, which is a seamless line, has come on stream last year, after the mid of last year, which is the Romania plant. So there we can increase the production, because it was refurbished last year only.
Okay.
And plus the ERW plant, earlier it was running single shift. Now the ERW plant is running double shift from this month. So there in ERW we have plenty of orders. There we can capitalize more.
Okay. All right, Mr. Jindal, we're going to leave it on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and speaking with us. So that's Maharashtra Seamless, where their focus will continue to be the oil and gas space at this point in time. That stock up around 3% But it's an important day of meetings today in the capital. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is meeting her state counterparts and will hold consultations before the government presents its budget on the 5th of July. Also on our radar is the 35th GST Council meet, which is scheduled for later today. It's a busy day for Timsy, who is here with us to take us through the details. Timsy.
Well, how the current situation is over here, the pre-budget consultations meeting with the state finance ministers have already started. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has given her opening remarks in the meeting right now, and she has asked states very clearly that there's an unprecedented level of devolution of funds that has taken place from center to the states, which has increased in the recent times. She has said that the state devolution fund has increased from 8,29,000 odd crore rupees to 12,38,000 odd crore rupees. And she has also mentioned that she would want states to come forward to help government in actually expanding the growth agenda which the government has. So there's a clear pitch that Finance Minister has made, And she has said, just to quote here, what the Finance Ministry has said officially, quoting her saying that she has sought the cooperation of all the states and union territories in achieving the aspirations of the people at large and extended full cooperation from her side in achieving the desired goals. So there's a clear pitch coming in where Finance Minister is urging states also to come forward and cooperate. Meanwhile, on the other hand, if we see what is up for the agenda for GST Council, two big issues. Firstly, reducing the rate structure for electric vehicles, where the council is proposing to reduce taxes on electric vehicles from 12% to 5%. And on the charger, the electric charger for the vehicles, they want a reduction from 28% to 18%. There is also a pitch by Centre for introducing an e-invoice system to curb tax leakages, which is where government is trying to propose that all the invoices in future in a phased manner can be done only through a software so that government can plug in tax leakages. Also, government is likely to give a relief to taxpayers by extending the filing deadline for the annual returns for FY 17-18, which is 30th June. There's an extension which is likely to happen. So there's a whole host of items which are listed. GOM on lottery is also going to put forward their recommendations. However, there is no clear-cut recommendation that they have made.
Absolutely.
There's no consensus. But there are a whole host of items that Nirmala Sitharaman will be taking it for the first time as Finance Minister with the GST Council.
Okay, Timsi, thanks so much for joining in. We'll keep coming back to you as and when you have an update. But on that note, let's listen in to what Kerala Finance Minister Thomas Isaac had to say about his expectations from the pre-budget meet.
Kerala believes that the big challenge before the budget is economic slowdown, and that requires much more liberal fiscal stance. One should not be obsessed and tied with the fiscal deficit ceiling. It's a time situation, something like 2009. We should follow a fiscal expansionary policy, a stimulus package for the economy.
Okay, all right. Well, we need to take a break now, but up next,